again, everybody. Barry Hyatt here in Scottsville at the University of Kentucky Extension Office with my good buddy Janet Johnson. Janet, who recently just returned from
Mardi Gras over in Nolans.
In Nolans,
Oh,
there you go.
That's not a correct pronunciation of the locals. They say, don't call it Nolans.
Yeah.
Call it New Orleans or something like that. So anyway.
What'd you do there?
Mardi Gras, well, I watched parades. 11 different parades from 11 different crews.
Okay.
That just come one after the other with 30 different floats, not counting the number of bands and the number of walking, or walkers as they call them, walking units like Pete Fountain and his walkers.
Sure.
And it truly was sensory overwhelming.
And I bet you found no good food at all to eat, right?
Well, we had great food. I had mock chow, or I think that's what it's called, which is a Choctaw Indian dish, which is very similar to our burgoo here in Kentucky, only you have seafood.
Wow.
You have crayfish, or you'll have other pieces of fish in this, and I hesitate to say I would have expected at some point maybe some turtle got in there and all kinds of animals of the creek and the rivers around there and the bayou, or even alligator.
Possible.
But so it was again the same type of stew, but delicious. So that's an idea of some of the different foods that I got to have, and I had many others, but great food, a great time. It was a marathon of endurance though.
Yes. To
watch 11 parades because they come one after another. We were in our seats or standing from at least 8, 9 o'clock to get your place until probably 8, 9 o'clock at night or more, you know, with some of the parades.
Good deal.
You could take a little bit of a break, but then you'd lose your place to catch all the wonderful beads. And that's how you really catch beads at Mardi Gras. Just
during
want to
the parades.
clarify that, you know. It's all the beads are actually thrown from the floats. And of course, there are some people that take those beads in the French Quarter and do kind of risque things with those beads, but not if you're truly watching the parades.
But not our Janet. She did not do that.
No. I was an avid bead collector from the floats.
There you go.
All of the different things, and that was fun. Catching doubloons, beads, all of the different signifiers of the different crews of Mardi Gras. Lots of fun.
Well, we're glad you had a good time, but today I don't think we're talking so much about a seafood gumbo, are we?
No, we're not, because that's not what we love. We've been here in the month of February, Barry, getting ready to go into the month of March. And, you know, we often think of February as the month of love, Love Your Heart month, and we're just kind of extending that over, taking a look at the benefits of eating a lot of berries. Strawberries, of course, are the most popular during, of course, Valentine's festivities. But the combination of different berries is something to have to really feel the love and love your heart in that way. This is a very simple cobbler, or crisp, I guess I should say, because of the topping on top and not really the pastry. But it uses a combination of 3 different berries. Now, I thought I was going to have the talking point today of looking for frozen berries at this time of the year. But when I priced the amounts of berries, because this recipe is very fruit heavy, it is not a recipe that has a lot of doughs or, again, what I call the toppings. It's very heavy on the fruit, which is a good thing, because you're going to get a lot of vitamins and antioxidants that are so good for you for major disease in a serving of this dessert. Yes, a little sugar there, but you are really, really focusing on the fruit. Not one mix I found had this combination of berries. The blackberries were eliminated for some reason.
Wow.
Raspberries were more common with blackberries and blueberries if you found that, but in most cases if you wanted the strawberry mixture, so I just made my own up with fresh berries.
There you go.
Because cost-wise, to get the amount to make the one dessert, it was just as cheap to buy the fresh berries and maximize your flavor and freshness than it was to use the frozen berries.
Well, you have a great selection there,
we do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hopefully not have any runaway berries. And we are using 1 3/4 cup to 2 cups of berries. Now understand, when we're measuring berries in a measuring cup, space depends on the size of the fruit, because you can have spaces left. So when I say 1 3/4 to 2 cups, it's going to depend upon how you pack the berries in. The size of the berries, particularly strawberries, you know, because they're, like we see in many of the berries right now, very large. So I even cut those in 2. Now, pre-prep, what I did was I washed the berries, and you can see I put these on a towel, on a paper towel.
Paper towel, sure.
Because you don't want excessive moisture, because there's going to be a lot of moisture that cooks out of this dessert.
Okay.
You know, to the point that you need to probably let it set a little while, and I think we've already taken a look at a make-ahead dessert that we pulled out and have already done, and there will be a lot of liquid. Now, as that sets and begins to cool down, that liquid will begin to be reabsorbed somewhat, so it won't be as liquidy.
Okay.
Okay, but just remember, 1 3/4 cup of berries. You know, if you get wild and just say, oh, I'm just going to use 2.5 cups, you're going to have probably too much liquid.
Okay.
So you've got to watch that.
Okay.
You know, about doing it. So the idea is if you have 2 cups of fruit, you may want to get a little snack, you know, and take a few out.
Not that you would,
of time.
not that you would
I
ever do that. Oh no, not at all.
I would never get a little snack in the kitchen while I'm preparing food. Never, never. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we have capped the strawberries, as you can see. We've got the berries all in a bowl. We're going to add about 3 tablespoons of sugar.
Okay.
Now, you could cut by using Splenda.
Splenda, yep.
You could. An alternative sweetener with the texture of sugar, though.
Okay.
Or you could actually take your berries and use some of the other alternative sweeteners, but that is not going to kind of begin to break the fruit down.
Is the texture the most important part there?
Well, you're trying to retain a little bit of texture, but yet have the fruit absorb those things. I think Splenda or the baking mixtures that have Splenda and sugar are the best alternative if you don't want to use this.
Okay.
You know, but if you are, this is what we're doing, and I'm going to go ahead and put that, and I'm going to kind of stir that. I'm going to let you give it an extra stir here in just a minute, Barry,
Sure.
because we want to kind of get this sugar on all the pieces of berries. Then I'm going to set this over here with you.
Okay.
And you are going to prepare a baking pan,
Okay.
an 8-inch baking pan.
Want me to go ahead and just...
You can.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and get the topping going here for the crisp. Now, the difference in a cobbler and a crisp is that with a cobbler, we make up a quick bread pastry. Whether you like the traditional pastry of kind of that drop biscuit, you know, kind of feel, where you're mixing that up with just basically some self-rising flour and some sugar and some milk.
Okay.
Or you want to actually make your own pastries or buy pie pastries and kind of line the top.
Sure.
You know, and use that. A crisp is really a flour and oat mixture with sugars and spices. So it's more of a crumbly, crisp topping.
Right.
Hence the word crisp.
Is that what you like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like all of it. I like everything. You know, because I could eat all of it. I love
Why
fruit.
pick up one thing, right?
No, right. When it comes to fruit desserts, and especially berry desserts, you know, hands down, I love everything.
Yes.
Because I do love fruit desserts more than probably, I even love this better than pecan pie.
Oh, wow.
That's hard. That's pretty harsh. You know,
Well, that's
that.
impressive, though, yeah.
It is impressive, though. But I like that fruity taste. I like that healthy feel to it.
Sure.
And it tastes wonderful. But anyway, okay, so what we're doing is we're doing kind of the 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of oats.
Okay.
You know, just equal proportions there. And then we're adding 3/4 cup of brown sugar to this. And once again, there are some baking mixtures that you have out there that you could substitute. Then I'm doing cinnamon and nutmeg.
Okay.
Now,
A mixture?
You may like other spice combinations, and you could. A little more cinnamon, 3/4 of a teaspoon to 1/2 a teaspoon of the other spice. This is nutmeg. Maybe you like cloves, or maybe you like ginger. Maybe you like that, but that's the one I'm doing. So I'm just putting all the dry ingredients together, basically.
Sure.
You know, and with the difference, as we said, between a cobbler adds like milk or liquid to kind of create the pastry. A crisp does not. It just takes butter and adds that level of mixture because it's not going to actually cook or rise or anything like that.
Okay.
So I'm using 6 tablespoons of butter. Okay.
Is that about 1/2 a stick, would you guess?
It's a little over 1/2 stick.
Okay.
In other words, you have 2-ish tablespoons, a little more than 2 tablespoons. And it tells you on there what 1/3 of a cup of is to 1/2. Now, is it going to kill you to use a stick of butter? No, it's not. But you don't want the cobbler, again, to have a lot of butter that bakes up and it has that kind of greasy taste. That's what you don't want. So, you know, this is a pretty good amount. Now, here's where it depends on your age and how you grew up in the kitchen.
Okay.
Because if I were my grandmother, I would just take my hand and I would just mix this up, because that's what you're doing. You're cutting in,
Yes.
cutting in. You're cutting in your fat with your dry ingredients.
Okay.
And yes, your fingers work wonderful. For the sake of television here, I will use a pastry blender. And these are nice little gadgets to have. If
Wow.
you don't have one
Yeah.
of those, you can use 2 knives, you can use your fingers, but I'll show you how this kind of works.
Wash your hands if you use your fingers. Wash your hands ahead of time.
Definitely. Wash
Yeah.
your hands anyway.
Right.
You know, no matter what. So I'm kind of getting these dry ingredients kind of broken up, especially that brown sugar, because it tends to clump.
Right.
And you know, this is the most effort you're probably going to have to put into this recipe today, is kind of blending, again, the dry ingredients, and then we begin to work in or cut in our fat. And that is just where you're blending the fat instead of having clumps of fat. We want that evenly distributed as much as we can with the dry ingredients.
Okay.
And you do that with quick breads or biscuits or anything like that too. You're actually working that in until
Sure.
it is crumbly. And it's the same thing here. You know, once again, I'm old and impatient, and if we weren't doing this for you on television, I would be using my hands. I can
You're not
tell you
old.
that.
You're not old.
But it's quicker for one, but it's not as sanitary, so we're doing this. But you can see how these little pastry blenders are really good at.
Come in handy, don't they? Yeah.
They're very handy, and you just use a little muscle and begin to blend that in. Okay, so once we have this blended in until it's crumbly, and you kind of work from the bottom and work it around
Okay.
and mix it in, then Barry, what I'm going to let you do,
Okay.
Barry has sprayed an 8x8 baking pan, okay? Now, if you choose to use more berries, you may want to do a 9x9.
Okay.
You know, so again, your liquid will have somewhere to go, because this is going to be kind of small,
Right.
you know, for that. So keep that in mind like that. Okay. All right, so I want you to put the berries in there.
Okay, sure.
And I'm then going to put the topping on top.
Now, will
So
all of this fit in here, Janet?
It will.
Okay. Let me try something this way.
Trust me, Barry.
Okay.
I know you're afraid.
Well,
I
I'm
can
just
tell.
thinking. I'm just thinking this would be
Just
so
go
much quicker
slow,
and slow.
Go slow,
And
I
maybe we won't have
guarantee
runaway berries.
that all those berries will go in. Although runaway berries are always an issue in
Yeah,
our
so-
kitchens here. That's for sure.
Yeah,
like
we have
runaway
some issues
crumbly.
here sometimes, don't we?
Yes, we do. But everybody does in the kitchen, and it's okay. We just make up with that too. Okay. See, you're doing
I'm
great.
getting closer and closer.
Doing great. You can kind of, you know, use your spatula there.
Yep.
And then just distribute those berries, you know, in the corners. And kind of evenly around. And you're going to be great. So you've got
Very
plenty
good.
of room here.
She's the real pro here at this,
But
let me tell you.
this is where this recipe that, of course, is developed out of our Plated Up Kentucky Proud series, I would probably use a 9x9 pan.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't worry about runaway berries
Right.
as much like that. But we're following it, but now you know that if you don't want that problem. So now what we're doing, we have preheated our oven to 375.
Okay.
Okay? So now I'm just going to sprinkle. Now I am going to use my hands, Barry.
Well,
And
what choice do you have here,
even
Janet?
as I'm using them, I am working that fat into the dry mixture too.
Sure.
You know, just so we don't have too many large clumps that you see. Or if I find a brown sugar piece, I can work that in too.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we do want to make sure this is evenly distributed. And once again, here's another reason that Janet would probably have chosen to use a 9x9. You know, but
Running out of space here is what she's getting at. Yeah.
well, you know, and again, this is not going to rise, so you're not going to have issues of everything coming out in your oven. You are not,
right.
but you're going to be full.
If you wanted to put, I'm sure you could do this, but if you wanted to put like almonds or something, like chopped almonds on the top,
Sure.
any kind of nut, could you do
Or
that?
you can mix nuts into your dry mixture.
In the dry mixture in the first
Absolutely.
place. Okay.
Chopped pecans would be great.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Absolutely. Way to think, and that's what you should do with these recipes. You should be creative, and just because it doesn't call for something, and you know, put enough that you're in there, but don't go overboard. Okay.
So now we're going to put it in the oven, right?
We are
Okay.
375 degrees. And we're going
And
to let that
for-
bake until it is bubbly. And Barry, people can see we've already had a little taste.
We
of the
have.
pie, you know, here, but you can see that it's warm and it's bubbly, but you can see how the fruit does cook down.
Yes, and it's actually still kind of liquidy, pretty liquidy
Yes,
actually, isn't it?
but
Yeah.
that will set up over time, but it does kind of go down. as the liquid, of course, cooks out of the fruit in that manner. And this is a delicious, delicious cobbler. Crisp.
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 A crisp, yeah.
Yes, not a cobbler.
So you've already sampled, of course,
have.
and you liked it.
I love it.
Good
I love
deal.
it because it has a great berry flavor
Yeah.
and great antioxidants. It's good for
Good
your
for the heart. Well, if you
Absolutely.
guys would like this recipe, it's oh so easy to get. You can email me at North Central. My email address there is barry.hyatt@nctc.com, or you can simply go to our website. It's www.nctc.com. It will be there on the recipe page, and you can figure out how to put it all together, and you can even watch the video if you'd like to as you're putting the recipe together. It's pretty fun to do that, actually.
It is, yes.
You can watch us, because we put this on the website, so
We
it's
do.
pretty darn cool.
It is. Great.
Well, thanks so much for this recipe, Janet.
Absolutely.
Good to see you again, and hope you have a happy March. Let's hope for warm weather, everybody. That's the
Not
goal
so
right
much
now, right?
snow.
No more
Not so
snow,
much
yes,
snow,
no
yes.
more snow. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again real soon.